If I were to ask you what is the real reason why you can't scale your business, what would you say? Well, I'll give you 5 seconds to guess what that thing is. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, have you guessed it? Well, I'm gonna bet that you haven't guessed the right thing. What most people think is that all the scaling of business has to do with tactics, and they obsess over learning about how they can optimize Facebook ads in a way where they'll get more leads, or how they'll write the perfect copy, getting into the psyche of human behavior in a way where people will throw money at them just by reading their copy, or how can they leverage AI just in a way that they could finally scale their business. The thing is, all of them, sure, they are good things to do, but they don't even complete the full equation of scaling a business. All they equate to is 20% of the impact. And people obsess over these strategies, or the business tactics, and think that these are the foundation and these are above everything else. But they just sit on top of the pyramid of scaling your business. Now, the other 80% are the bottlenecks and the leaks that you're not identifying and eliminating from your own business, which is holding your income back. And one of those leaks is energy. How you might think, how can energy be something that is holding your income back? Well, let me guide you through the law of energy. See, we've heard and studied this in physics class all the time, when we were in school, but we didn't really integrate it with our business. And the thing is, with energy, you can't really see energy. If I were to ask you that you would see the Wi-Fi signals, you couldn't see them, but they're so strong. Your phone picks it up, your computer picks it up, and it's on your screen of your phone that the signals are there. And when they're weak, it shows on your phone that the signals are weak, that you're only getting 2 bars of signals of Wi-Fi. The same is with human energy. Now you're putting out all of this energy with your clients or with the people you're interacting with, uh, on the content that you're creating, whether it's organic or paid. Now, the information you're giving is good, it's truthful, and you know you can help. You're giving people, and you're giving your existing clients the information which is bound to work. It is a proven system, you know that, but they're still not taking action. Why is that? And they might take action, but not a lot of them are taking action. The same goes with the people you're communicating to with your content. You're putting out all of the information that you know is true. You know if they apply it, it will get them result. It will get them to book your call with you. It will get them to become high quality leads. But the implementation has to do something with the way you're communicating. And the way you communicate boils down to energy. See, energy is really contagious. We see this all the time. Somebody preaches something and it becomes a motivational speech. Why is that? The words you already know, the things that you need to do, but what is it that the speaker instills in you that you otherwise couldn't get it inside of your head? Because logically, we know we need to be disciplined, we need to wake up early, we need to stop wasting time. And we know all these things inherently, but if somebody else just presents to us on a stage, and it's not about the stage even, it's about the way they communicate it, that just resonates and it takes the heart, and it makes the heart absorb the information in a way that we start to change ourselves. This is because energy is contagious. And if we dive deep into the law of energy, we know that energy cannot be created nor it can be destroyed. It can only be transmuted or converted. This is the same thing when it comes to speaking to our existing clients. Now, you might be saying the right thing, but how is it that they're responding? And how is it that you can make them so energetic and so passionate in a way that they start to implement it, and in a way that they transform themselves within weeks? If you have a coaching program that extends to 3 months and they're getting the results in 3 weeks, you're getting a high amount of return. You're getting the best results ever, because you're not even spending a month with them and they're already getting the results. This is done through energy. And I'll tell you about all of the things that you need to do to become a energetic person who can transmute the energy to others. See, we've already covered that energy is contagious. What you put out is then consumed by others. But the problem is, most of the people and most of the coaches, they're putting out information with this shallow, dull energy. And what ends up happening is, when they're doing this, when they're presenting this boring, dull, shallow energy, it is being transmuted the same way, in a boring, dull way. And inside the head of your clients, they're getting this meh type of state. And what you need to do instead is really eliminate this and go with high energy, in a way that they start to become pumped and they hype themselves up because of you. And you hype them in a way and motivate them that they're inspiring to go at the level that you're preaching, so that they can transform themselves in a way that they know that deep down they have to do it, because you've told them in a strong manner. Now, what most people assume is that they make the mistake of assuming that a high energetic person would be this person who has just snorted cocaine and he's jumping up and down and he's pretending to be somebody else and he's being a loudmouth. That is not the high energy I'm referring to. Even if you do that, that type of high energy is bad because of two reasons. First of all, the high energy, that is fake. You can feel the inauthenticity of somebody who's just trying to be a loudmouth and trying to go out of his way to yell and scream to instill motivation. That is not good, because firstly, that is inauthentic, and second of all, because it's fake, it's not coming from a place of authenticity, then you're prone to be burned out. And I did this a lot of times. When I was with my friends, I always wanted others to love me, and I had this obsession with my being high energy. I made this ideal that I needed to be high energy, because that is where people will give me attention. That is where people will love me. But what ended up happening was, I got into this fake state. I blurred out some things. Sure, it was good momentarily, but then the other 3 days I had to recover from it. It took me 3 days, because that is how draining it was. It drained all of my battery, and I couldn't even focus for anything. It was like a hangover, and I didn't even drink. It's just like a hangover, where you need a lot of days to recover and reset, and it's just constant brain fog and headache the other days. That is how draining it is. So what is this high energy that I'm talking about, which your clients will get, and they'll charge up themselves up, which the audience will get, and they'll be ready to take action to give you money to become a client of yours. What is it that you need to do? See, if we're imagine it's you, right? This is you, beautiful you. And imagine this is your client. Now, what you're putting out to them is just something other than words. These are your energy that is being transferred. Now, how do you transfer energy to them? I want you to do a fun exercise where I want you to talk about something that you completely don't know about, something you have no knowledge on, or something you know very little about. It could be it could be anything coding related, or anything boring like geography, or a country you don't know about, or a certain type of food you have no knowledge on, anything. I want you to talk about it for a minute. And then conversely, I want you to talk about something you're absolutely passionate about. Your eyes light up when you talk about it, and you begin to instill the emotions, and the emotions come from within whenever you talk about that. And I want you to talk about it for a minute and record both of these instances just by setting up a camera or anything. And then I want you to review both of the videos and watch it as a third person would, and tell yourself which one is the better version, and which one do you think that has a good vibe and you would work with him if you were a client. Of course it's going to be the second one, because it's the passion that drives your emotions from within. And if you're always preaching to your client, if you're always telling them what to do, and you're teaching them, oh, do this, oh, this system, oh, I know it's proven to work, just do this, I know this works, just do it. There's no emotion. You're you're like a talking head. Anybody could replace you, because you're just a presenter of information. But what the energetic person would do is they instill analogies. They would instill their own stories. That's what gives emotions. So, next time you're talking to a client, tell a bit of story. Don't hold yourself back from being a bit vulnerable by telling your own stories. How do you relate with them? How how bad were you with a certain skill that you've just conquered and now you're good at it? And how worse of a life you had before you did all of this and before you made a lot of money. All of this, you need to be a bit vulnerable. That's where the emotions come. And you need to instill stories of yourself with your existing clients and with your the audience you're reaching, whether it's from organic content or paid ads, whatever it is. Instill a bit of yourself. Don't be afraid to put your parts of yourself in your content and in your coaching calls. That brings the emotions, which then brings energy to your conversations. And I want you to be passionate about what you're teaching. And chances are, whatever your coaching business is revolving around, that is already a source of passion for you. So speak passionately on it. Don't be afraid to hold yourself back. Don't hold yourself back. Don't be afraid to share your passion with others, because that is a key trait that is missing from the entirety of the coaching business. If you look around, everybody sounds like a scripted robot. You see everybody, they're talking like they're reading a script, and they probably are reading a script. That's why it's really important for you to build that connection with your own story, with genuine emotions. Okay, so I've just mentioned a few things that you can do to become a highly energetic person. First is the emphasis. See, I can't even turn this off. Uh, the way I speak, it's I'm trying to turn off my emphasis system, but in my own head, you see, in my own head, the word head has emphasis on it. So it becomes impactful. And the cool thing is, you can then think about what else you need to say, because the emphasis buys you time. So it's a win win. And by the emphasis, see how I emphasized it? That is how you emphasize things. By emphasizing things, you're buying the time, you're making the story more compelling, and people assume that you're just this highly energetic guy. Notice that I'm not jumping up and down, I'm not yelling. My natural voice doesn't go beyond a certain point, and I'm a really silent person, I'm a really quiet person. And that's why I'm just sticking this mic all the way through my mouth, because I can't yell. Just because I'm talking to the internet, I don't want to fake myself. And that is what I'm trying to teach to you as well. Now, the second thing is tonality. Before I jump into it, I want to tell you that using the law of energy in your favor will give you the money that you're looking for, because not using it and having a shallow energy is what's holding your income back. And just like I've mentioned that, just like how I mentioned that, apart from the tactics, this law of energy falls somewhere down here. And these are the bottlenecks and the leaks that are present in your business that you don't even realize. And there are tons and tons more of these leaks and bottlenecks present in your business, just as we're speaking right now. They're still present and they're still holding your income back. If you want to remove all of them, then I can help you do that through my mentorship program. Click the link in the description and I'll see you there. But back to the tonality part. Now you also have to have a varying tonality. Like I just did. You see, you need to have a varying tonality with your speech. This is a problem I see with a lot of introvert coaches. What they do is, because they're introverts, they talk like this in a monotone manner, and they're not even animated because they can change who they are, and they're talking with this low voice, the same tonality, and basically just really boring, dull conversation. And you see, even when I was talking about the boring, dull conversation, it is like that you would tune out and you would zone out in an instant. Why is that? Because we respond to emotions, and being a highly energetic person, what it does is it's contagious. If you're being this dull person, if you're talking like this, even with the things you're passionate about, then you will be then other people will catch that, and they will have the same shallow energy, and they won't feel the same about even the highly impactful stuff that is going to bring the result, and that is going to give them whatever transformation you're providing to them, whatever result you have within weeks, because they're going to implement it because of the high energy input that they get from you. And you see this all the time, and I can assure you that I was like this. I used to talk like a dull manner, with a monotonous voice, and because I thought that I had this very, very bad notion that I was Tommy Shelby. And then I used to talk in this monotonous manner where, and I even sometimes I blinked slowly and I thought that it was cool. But people tuned out. The social circles I was in, people didn't really pay attention to me. They didn't even care. They thought I was just being in my own head, which I was, and which is their problem with a lot of people. They might think like me, like I was some sort of character and I needed to be the Sigma guy, but the tonality needs to change. I'm not saying I'm not really a big fan of it because you don't see me really varying the tonality a lot. I am doing it right now with to make it clear for you, but really it all boils down to emphasis, really. But when you pair it with a subtle tonality shift within your content, with the way you speak with your clients, this has really changed how I talk with others and how much I now connect with others. And all business and coaching is to provide value and provide the most greatest amount of service you can. And and being a highly energetic person is another requirement which most people neglect and overlook, or they don't even know that this is something that they need to work on. And this is one of those bottlenecks that you can't even see with your own eyes, which if you go on to fix, it's gonna change your life because clients are gonna get this high energy from you. They're gonna take action. They're gonna get you the results faster. The word of mouth would be stronger, and the amount of people you're reaching with your content, they'll resonate more and they'll flock you towards your coaching business, and they'll hand you money. They'll rush in holding their credit card, begging you to sign up because of how impactful you are. And in this crowd, in this day and age where a lot of people are lacking the skill, you can really stand out with this. You can really form a deep, genuine connection without even faking yourself. The third thing is your story. Now, your story is really what drives the emotions home, as we talked about. Story really drills down on these deep emotions that are within you. And once the emotions are in, you become a highly energetic person. And the last point is to become more vulnerable. This is a big one. Once you show a bit of your vulnerability, it doesn't have to be really deep or really intense or where you end up crying in front of others, but something that you've already processed the emotions before, and then you just present it to your audience in a way that where you're looking back to narrate your story and not really get into the emotional side of it, because most people, they think being vulnerable means to go in the past, extract a really sad memory or a traumatic experience and tell it to others in a way where you end up crying. That is not what your audience wants. You need to become a highly energetic person, but knowing that you're in front of your clients, you're here to teach them. It's not a crying session. And you can keep the crying with yourself alone and process all the emotions, and then come back and narrate that experience. That's what builds trust. Once you've once people realize how strong you are because how you've gone through it, and you can tell that you've cried before because that is part of the story, but you don't have to go into the emotions when you're presenting and telling the story. See how much of a perspective shift this video would is, because nobody teaches this when it comes to business, and nobody thinks about this ever. And maybe some people figure it out, but they hide it and they gatekeep these things from the internet, and they push on these other agendas like business tactics because that's what really sells. but I am here to give you all of the secret sauce. The thing about these things is that they're so quiet and they lurk in the background behind the scenes that you can't even see them. And it took me a great amount of time to really dive into these things because I wanted to study and replicate success. So I started to study all these elites, whether it was a multi-millionaire or the highly paid actors or the athletes who were doing really good and who were also really rich. And I wanted to replicate the success that they had. And one of the things was that they were a highly energetic person, that they could just instill energy and any of the emotions that on will, on command. And it is one of those skills because once you want to scale your business and you there are these are the certain skills that you need to acquire on your way up, and without these you can't really go up. You need these skills. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there are tons and tons more of the bottlenecks and leaks that are present in your business. And one of the leaks is not innovating. Most people fail to innovate their business, and it is costing them a lot of money because their competitors who are innovating, they're just gonna outcompete you in a way that you can't even see their trails. And you don't want that to happen. You want to be that competitor who's innovating, and so he's 10 steps ahead of his competitors, where 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 you set an industry standard which other people follow, so you become the trendsetter, and people copy your style, your way of talking, your way of making videos, your way of basically your entire business. They'll copy it. And I went in great detail explaining all the intricacies and how you can innovate your business in a way where you become the industry standard in my video